It's raining heavily in town. Wherever you are, I'm sure you can feel the weather, you can perceive the weather, or you are probably stopped by rain in traffic or somewhere where you went to watch that match. I don't want to call it full, but match they go on. Two countries they play. Nigeria and England is going on. I'm not calling the result. You are the one to call in to tell us what is happening from your home, from your parlor, from your kitchen, wherever you're watching it, even from your restroom, from the viewing center, from the club. Where are you watching the game at? Have we given a good account of ourselves so far in the first half? Is that the team you want to see in Russia? If you were the coach, what would you do differently in the next 45 minutes of the game? This is Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting. Welcome to the Saturday edition of the stadium. Today is the second day of June 2018. Anno Domini. Of course, we have planned a lot of things for yourself in the month of May. It's gone. Done and dusted. May is gone. If you don't work hard to make sure you achieve what you planned for June, the second day has gone. It's remaining a very few days. June will be gone, and half of 2018 would have gone. Don't get carried away by the fact that the World Cup is around the corner. The CONIFA World Cup started the day before yesterday, is going on, and the FIFA World Cup starts in a couple of days. In fact, I am counting it in hours, not in days now. In hours, I think so. And a lot of people will agree with me. Welcome to this version of the stadium on Saturday. My name is Ted. If you are somewhere where your roof is sounding a lot loud and you need to hear us, please increase the volume of your radio because you can't afford to miss any word, any sentence on the program this evening. We have a lot, and today is specially dedicated to you, the listener, to have your say. There's a lot on our plate to talk about this evening. I don't do this alone. The whole squad is available. Some are a little bit angry that Nigeria is... Okay, I say I will not call the score. What am I talking about? Okay, let me keep it now. Some are not in the studio for some reasons to calm down first before they come and say Nigeria is disgracing us. No, they are not disgracing us. It's a practice match, I say, ahead of the World Cup. But I'm here, as usual, with our big brother and our big brothers. A lot. I'm not introducing anybody today. But let me start from my right-hand side. In white trainers, black with some kind of silver leopard colored top, an athlete to the core, seated on the right seat, of course actually the middle seat because somebody is coming to join him on the left, with a footwear that we cannot call because it's going to be branding. Thank God the camera didn't capture it. Introduce yourself. Your listeners have been waiting to hear you this evening, sir.
Thank you, Ted. My name is Amin Ibrahim, ex-international handball player. Good evening, listeners. I hope you are enjoying the rainfall.
I don't think anybody's enjoying this. But of course, rain is a blessing from the Almighty Allah, from the Almighty God. So we thank God for the rain coming down for so many reasons. We like heat. If your roof is leaking, please, we have experts that can repair your roof. Just let us know. We'll recommend them to you. And of course, we have one of our very, very, very big ex-internationals. Very, very massive. Not by sides, not by shouting, but by the pedigree of what he has done in a lot in Nigeria here in sports. I will let him introduce himself for you to hear his name for the first time on Human Rights Radio, for taking out his time inside this rain to come and be with us. And he's going to talk about a very, very interesting sport that two of our former presidents bragged themselves as one of the best in West Africa and in fact in Africa. One gets slim body of blessed memory. One still get body, even though in Bele big, when he starts moving on the court, you know that he can actually play this game. Welcome to Human Rights Radio, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please introduce yourself to everybody to meet you for the first time on this platform, sir.
Okay, once again, good evening, listeners.
Yes,
my name is Jonah Atta. I'm an ex-international squash player.
You don't retire, but you never tire. When they hear that voice, so gentle like that. If you enter squash, when I enter, when I go no say, person where they talk here, our big brother, Jonathan. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time.
Thank you very much.
This is a sports expert, a sports marketer, a coach in his right in the game of squash. He's going to tell you what squash is. To squash, no means saying that one they talk say I don't squash you, that to fold you through away. No, it's a sport. Let me not go details before I commit some blunders, because I know say anything will come to sports. What are they think now, ball? Squash we get one of them. Like badminton, they call it shuttle. every sport has a definition for the equipment and the gears they use. We're going to have that conversation this evening. Our big brother here, Okojona Ata, will lead us on the discussion about squash, how it has been in Nigeria. We're just going to chat about it and we'll allow you. But don't forget that you are free to call into this program as we are speaking because, Coach Aminu, which countries are playing? Let me not talk. You are the one to tell us. Which countries are playing this evening? Is it Ghana and Congo, or which countries are having international friendly this evening? The one that is going on. You came out from where you were watching and you say they don't knock Una. You removed yourself from us. How has been the first half so far based on what you watched so far? Just in summary, before our callers begin to give us the details.
Well, Ted, the first half has not been really what we expected. The midfield, the defense, it's very
Even
poor.
the attack.
It's very porous. The only department that was doing a little bit better was the attack.
Yes.
But you can't be attacking without defending. If you continue attacking and they are scoring against you, then you're not really getting it right. But I believe the next 45 minutes we'll see a better game after they come out from the locker room. The coach must have seen their lapses and then he must have addressed that. But he better, I think it's better to address it early than, and then allowing the match to go that way. If the match goes that way, a lot of Nigerians will be disappointed from all the promises and then the motivation and everything that has been given to the team.
All right, Coach Aminu has given you highlights. It's Nigeria playing against England at the Wembley Stadium. The game started almost an hour ago, and we are getting into the second half. Nigeria is actually behind. The score lines will come through you, the listener. You can join us from the beginning of the show. But of course, we're going to allow Coach Ata to talk about a lot of things in the game of squash. Coach Ata, let me come to you. I have followed the game of squash for a while, not as a good player, but just I don't play it. Let me not lie, I don't play it. Only people like Ogamino can enter any sports arena and play. People like you, from handball to basketball to football to squash. We do have the squash. I want to first of all to ask you: do we have a squash federation in Nigeria? Before we go there, what is the game of squash? What does it does he involve using boot and helmet, or what does he entail to talk about the game of squash? Somebody who doesn't know squash, how would they understand what squash is?
Well, thank you very much, Ted.
Yes, sir.
I will start by saying squash is the healthiest game in the world.
Healthiest?
Yes, according to Forbes magazine. That is a recent research.
Okay.
And for many people that play squash, there are a lot of benefit to it. But I'll start with defining the game of squash.
Yes, sir.
Squash is a game, a ball game played by two people, which is a singles, or four people, which is a doubles.
Yes.
And they play it hitting the surface, the playing surface, which is the front wall, and they do it alternatively. And the first to get to 11 wins the game.
Okay. Or first to get to 11?
Yes, first to get to 11.
Okay.
So if there's a tie of 10-all, first to get 2 clear points wins that game.
It's like a tie break in tennis.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, trying to separate, or extra time in football. Oh, wow, excellent. Do we have a squash federation in this country, sir?
Yes, we have a squash federation headed by Mr. Boye Oyerinde. It's a new board. They just came on and they've rolled off the sleeves and they are correcting everything that was not really going on well. And so far, so good. We're seeing hope, and we just pray they keep up the momentum, and hopefully squash will get the right attention that it has not gotten in a very long time.
I know that a lot of sports, Ogamino and I, Chi, D1, all of our resource persons have been discussing a lot about sports on this station, especially grassroots. We took our eyes away from sports that has been established, that everybody knows, and we'll be thinking about grassroots, that every sport should go back and reintroduce sports to our younger generation, so that when our generation is gone, there will be something that people will look on to or hold on to and say, when it was our time, when God gave us the time to live here, we left this behind for our children, our great-grandchildren to go. Is squash thinking, it's a new federation thinking in that direction of squash. For example, handball has organized a lot of tournaments that involve schools. Even in Abuja here and going across the country, a lot of tournaments. In Lagos, we have an ex-international who is actually taking money out of our own pocket to organize tournaments for that. The mega veterans in handball have gone across from schools, children from very different places. The last big one that we had was in Abuja here. Before that, there was one in Kaduna that involved clubs. To see that we try to send the sport back, taking sports back to school, not the business aspect of it, where people that know nothing about sports will come and occupy some big offices, chop all the money, travel. Some are already in Russia, collecting the Easter codes. We are not yet gone to Russia for the World Cup, but they're already set to the best hotels and collecting all those things. It's business for them. But for those who have passion for the sport, they think there should be a legacy to leave behind. What's the federation doing? What are you people who are in? You are a coach. I know you're mentoring a lot of people. I don't want to talk so much about that, but you are. What are we doing in the game of squash to introduce it to people that don't know, in schools especially, and to return it to places that we lost it? Like, is the federation thinking of organizing tournaments for schools, or for grassroots development in squash?
Well, so far so good. At the moment, what we are actually working towards, especially what this present board, the new federation board, geared towards is grassroots development.
Excellent.
And I key into their vision because that is what I've always cried for.
Yes.
At the moment, I have an academy,
Okay.
which is self-financed.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, it's not government, it's not anybody. I only have one or few members at the National Stadium Squash Club that's once in a while come to our aid, but it's solely self-sponsored. Sometimes personal money goes towards these kids,
Yes.
but I believe in financing a development for them in terms of squash, because I'm trying to see what I can give back without thinking of what I will get.
Yes.
Because I still believe that if tomorrow I go about with my walking stick, I should be able to tell people that this is what I was able to do for squash, not only what squash did for me. And we started this program about 8 months ago with children ranging from the ages of 4 to 11. And today, they are hitting the ball with sense. They know where to place the ball. And we're looking at a program of another 4, 5, 6 years. These kids will start playing tournament and winning.
Yes.
I want to go with the model of Egypt.
Okay.
Today,
I was even going to come to that because
Yes.
Egypt has overtaken us. I remember one time President Obasanjo made a statement, ex-President Obasanjo, because he used to play squash. I don't know whether he still does.
Yeah.
The late Yaradua himself was a squash player. In fact, when they were saying he was sick, he challenged people that anybody who wants to see whether he's sick or healthy should challenge you to a game of squash. Let them get to the ring. Obasanjo made that statement about Egypt, Nigeria being higher than Egypt in squash. Now, Egypt has overtaken us. Like you said, what is your plan to start as you start from your foundation and squash generally for us to compete with Egypt again?
Yeah, before we talk of competing with Egypt,
Yes, sir.
I want us to look at how did they get to where they are today.
Okay.
First of all, they went back to the grassroots. They had a president that loved squash so much,
Yes.
Hosni Mubarak.
Mubarak, yes, of course.
And he made sure squash was given the publicity that it needed. And today, the slogan in Egypt is the most popular sport after football is squash.
Wow.
They encourage...
Oga Aminu, it has taken over handball in Egypt. Are you threatened by that record that Coach Jonah is selling us? That means handball has lost it in Egypt. Squash has taken over. Anyway, you're a squash player, so you don't feel very
He plays squash as well.
He plays squash now. People don't know. I'm exposing that secret today that if you try Oga Aminu like the late president Yaradua used to challenge, if you think he cannot play squash, come and meet him on the court and you people will see.
Ed, one funny thing that you don't know is Coach Jonah that taught me how to play squash. So I don't have any problem with that. I'm a squash player.
Oh, coach and his player here. Mentor, he say himself. Yeah, Coach Jordan, I like that part that you said. That means the presidency, a president that loved the sport because he was a player, intervened to make sure that the sport was sustained and developed. How much are we getting from that? Like you said something very important. Like your own foundation and academy is self-funded. It's not coming from government. But funny enough, budgets are made for each of these sports. After Oga Yakmut left National Sports Commission and the following administration scrapped National Sports Commissions and all that, nobody has been able to replace or refocus the direction of our sports, where sports commissions were in charge of checking all this, including disbursements of budgets that were meant for them. There are budgets. I won't be shocked if I hear from you that there's a budget for squash this year, and funny enough, maybe the money has not reached anybody.
Well,
I'm not lying to think. I'm just suspecting. Could that be a lie? Or there's a possibility that is on ground?
At the beginning of every season or year,
yes,
there should be a budget to run the activities.
Exactly.
But so far, I've not seen anything. And I don't know if they are channeling it elsewhere.
If there was a budget, you don't want to be quoted, but I'll say it here. Or Human Rights Radio, with the Like Naked Matter, we take after the model of the executive media strategies, who doesn't hide things, say them as true as they are, and that's why we're saying that. Not that we're attacking anybody.
No, not at all. But we're saying things the way they are.
We're speaking about finances here over in sports that are suffering in this country, and there have been budgets for these federations. People like this should be encouraged to see that the game of squash is placed where it belongs again. We should be having the children in its academy, and I go to the National Stadium. I see very, very, very dedicated sportsmen and women use their own funds to even buy kits, the gears for children to start learning sports. Parents bring them. Sometimes they don't even collect anything for those parents. They just don't want to part ways with the sport. This is the only way they can give back. Like he said jokingly, Coach Jordan said it jokingly, like when he's using his walking stick and walking many years ago, we know God will give him long life to watch that what he started will not end in failure. When he's walking on the street, he will remember, or people see him will know that this is a man who made sure that squash repositioned itself, even if it is just here in the Kaura district here. It starts from somewhere. Even if it's not at the national level, it starts from somewhere. But then, Coach Jonah, I want to ask you a very serious question. What have been the obstacles in making sure that squash comes back to itself, apart from the finances? I know there are some people that will not even be happy with the development. Obstacles, difficulties that you have met along the line in terms of making sure that squash develops. Let me give you an example. In handball, as clean as the election was held, we started having two fractions. The veterans were interested in getting handball in the country together. Some group decided to isolate themselves to start. So if not that the federation had good leadership that were smart enough to put everything together, now would have had two fractions of handball in Nigeria. The same thing that almost happened in basketball before the new leadership came in and tried to bring together both the Sahara and the Savannah conferences together as one in Nigeria. Is squash facing this kind of challenge? I hope when I do election, they do the throat chair. You know, some elections, when they finish, you see all the chairs and the furniture will be upside down.
No, you know, squash is a gentleman's game.
Everybody talks about that.
So you win or you lose. You lost.
And you accept the defeat.
What matters is the development of the game.
Yes.
Actually, my own candidate, which is General Yusuf,
yes,
did not win.
Yes. Okay.
And he has done so much for squash that made me believe in him. He's one of the financiers of the academy. Yeah. So
he deserves the accolade.
He lost the election.
Yes.
Due to shenanigans by one or two persons that he really looked upon.
Yes.
To deliver. But even at that, he still supports the game. He still comes to our aid.
Yes.
And he even told me, he said, look, if it is the grassroots, I'll always be there for you. You know. So I was talking about Egypt.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I've
played against the Egyptians on several occasions in different tournaments.
Yes,
and I see what they do to their players. First of all, they have several academies, and each academy has got like 150 children.
Wow.
Per academy.
Within the country?
Within the country. And you have several academies. So you are looking at 150 kids by, say, 11 academies.
That's massive.
You know what it means.
Yes.
They have more number of upcoming players than
Yes.
the established players.
Exactly.
And that is the conveyor belt we talk about. You try to breed these kids. We're not looking at a chap of 21 years old who is playing very,
about
very well.
starting, yes.
Yes, I don't look at those ones.
Yes.
I look at the 4 years, 3 years, 6 years that I program to say, okay, within the next few years, this is where I
Okay.
project you to be.
Yes.
That is my dream. Like the last time I heard, the sport ministry of Egypt, they make available close to like $3 million to push squash forward.
From the ministry.
Yes. And when you talk of $3 million, how much is it to Nigeria?
That's somebody's job money for one day. Somebody in high
Today,
power.
they are reaping the fruits of their
all-
labor.
Yes.
The first, second, third male player in the world, male players in the world are Egyptians. The first, second, third female players in the world are Egyptians. This was not done overnight. But you see in Nigeria, where you have square peg struggling to be in the round hole, you discover that things will never go well except you adjust those mentality. If you don't have to be the minister or the president brother to head a
to make
place.
things up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
If you are passionate, you are a good sports person, and you have passion for this, and you can actually make it happen like you
Yeah.
did. But Coach Jonathan, are we thinking of for now building up a league, a squash league in Nigeria? Do we have are the clubs, squash clubs in Nigeria, or clubs rather, all owned by government, or there are individual clubs around the country? Like, how many clubs can we boast of? Does every state have at least a state squash club?
yeah. The structure of squash
Yes, sir.
is not like the structure of squash in England or or Egypt or
yes.
South Africa.
Yes.
Most of the structures are the old structure of state sport
State-owned.
council. The kids come in or the players come in, they play by 4 and by 6 they are all gone. In Abuja, at least we have some private clubs.
Okay.
It's okay. But in most states, you have the state club, which most of the states are, the state players are, they're non-existent at all. You don't have the youth program to take over. So the club, when you talk about club, you don't even call it a club. It's more like a state team. So it's quite difficult to assess that.
I know that I believe that Coach Aminu, with efforts like this, we have been talking about individuals getting into sports in Nigeria to save the situation, and I think I want to commend Coach Jonathan for, like, it's a massive step he's taking. The whole roadblocks of finances and everything. I believe that with his doggedness and commitment and a few other people added to him, we are going to see that revolution in squash the way we are seeing now in handball with the new leadership of Nigerian Handball Federation. We're slowly, backed by the mega veterans, we're seeing that improvement slowly, and it's coming. The same thing that we've seen in basketball. We have over-diverted our attention to football, which is not giving us the very best. But we're seeing that one good player in squash can actually put the country's name at a very big place. 23 men might not be able to put Nigeria's name on the pedestal as a country that is winning gold in this. One player in squash can chase gold at the World Championship and win it and make Nigeria get there. But I believe there's something Coach Jonas said I want to ask you before we open the phone lines for our callers to come in. Say the squash, according to Forbes, is the healthiest sport in the world. How healthy has squash made you, Coach Aminu? I know you play. You don't joke with squash. I know that very well. So many times we're having program here. Sometimes you say, yeah, you are the steady, you're training. You join us later on Saturday evening. You don't joke. From handball, you're running into squash. How healthy has squash made you?
Yes, what Coach Jonas says, it's very true that squash is the healthiest game. And
no, he quoted the magazine.
Sorry?
He quoted the magazine Forbes.
Yeah,
but
according to Forbes magazine.
But he has also asserted by saying that means he has endorsed what the magazine said.
Yes, and I endorse too.
Yes.
Because when you see anybody that plays squash, let's take an example with our ex-president,
Yes.
Chief Olusegun Obasanjo.
Yes.
If you see him, he's always active and fit,
So squash.
and he's a very wonderful squash
I
player.
thought it's because he's a retired general. They have
It's
to
not
go
the issue of being a retired general, but a squash player, and a very good one.
Okay.
And you can see it when you see any squash player, you will know that yes, this person is very healthy and physical. Because if you're not physically and mentally okay, you can't play squash because it's a game of stamina and technique.
Concentration as well.
Yes.
This is Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting. Of course, we'll be speaking with Coach Jonah Atta, our ex-international, very, very massive and amazing player of squash in his right, and a coach presently running his own academy as well, and trying to make sure that our younger ones also remember the game. It's not that when we reach like 2080, we hear that there used to be a game called squash. No, these are veterans who want to make sure that what they used, what's sold at them internationally, is not left to die flat like that. That is still happening at any level they can. So, do you have children that love squash? Do you know about squash? Go online, check it out. If you have questions to ask, you can call us and ask Coach Jonah Atta any question concerning squash. It's a very beautiful game. Just need to get the racket. Coach Jonah, what do you call it? Is it the ball, or we call it shot, or it's ball? There's a racket.
Squash ball.
Yeah.
Good,
so you can get the squash ball and get the racket, and they'll just show you how you can actually train and join and learn how to. Before the program ends, we'll tell you one or two techniques about squash. Coach Jonah is going to review one or two things that you don't know about squash. If you think you know squash, maybe he'll ask you a question. If you answer it correctly, maybe you stand a chance to bring your child to this academy. Let me pick this call and then we'll get back to the studio. Hello, good evening. All right, the number to join us on the conversation is 080-3322-1149. Nigeria is still playing England. You call in to give us the result and what has been your impression so far of the game. Are you disappointed? Are you surprised about what is happening? Or it's okay as it is? So many of those players are playing very, very safe. Nobody wants to get injured at this point in time because everybody, as of today, you can see all of them are carrying their names at the back of their jerseys, which means those numbers have been given have permanently been assigned to them. Those are the jerseys numbers they will use in Russia. And the jersey you are seeing the Super Eagles wear is the jersey we are going to use in Russia as our home kit. Coach Aminu has, so I don't want to ask him how much he bought it. I have not seen my own. He promised me 2 weeks ago that it will come, but I learned that the people actually almost brought down the Nike shop online. With Nigerians ordered for it. It's one of the most beautiful kits we're having. After I think US 94 was one of the once we had that kind of jersey, and this is another beautiful one that we're having. So a lot of Nigerians have spent money to buy it. We hope that the jersey will bring us luck and everybody will be happy. Join us on the conversation. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, okay, there's a call here. Let me pick this call before I go on this break. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello? Well, I've picked your call. If you're speaking, you speak. If you're not speaking, I don't know what I'll do. All right, the call has dropped. We'll take a very short break. When we return, Coach Atta is here. Coach Jonah Atta is here. One or two things to say before we wrap up the conversation about squash. But if you have any questions to ask him, he's still very much around with us here. Apart from squash, he's very interested in so many other sports. So don't be surprised when he tells you exactly the size of the boot of Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, he's a man who is versatile in all sports. Don't think it's only squash. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, welcome to the stadium on Human Rights Radio. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
Thank you, sir. I want to ask Coach Aminu something. A person who want to join football, will he join?
Person who want to join football for where? Hello?
For that thing.
Oh, with Coach Aminu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, whether person want to join
Football. For that thing.
Okay, football.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Coach Aminu say he will tell you there's no age. Even if you are 53, you can actually start playing football. Coach Aminu will give you details of that when we come back from this break. So listen to us and he will tell you what it entails to become a footballer or to bring somebody to join the game of football. Are you there?
Okay, sir.
He will answer you in a short while. We'll take a short break and when we come back, Coach Aminu will talk to you. Stay with us. Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM redefining broadcast. We'll be right back. Stay with us. FM redefining broadcasting. The program has been The Stadium. My name is Ted. Of course, I'm being joined here by my very, very senior brothers, both in the world of sports. Don't ask me which sport I played before. If I tell you now, unless you want me to meet you at the Dambe field, then we can discuss how far the way forward from there. That's if you come out safely with all your cheeks still looking intact.
Sports he played. World Dembe champion.
Anyway, on The Stadium here, we cover every sport. That's the voice of Coach Aminu is here, and of course, Coach Jonah Atta, a big brother, and ex-international legend in his own right, and of course, current coach of squash, especially the grassroots programs that he has actually championed to make sure the game of squash doesn't go into what Oibo call the lead room, that it doesn't die, it's still alive. So you can join us and ask Coach Jonah any question you want to ask about squash, but I want to start from asking him about myself. How do I get into squash and what am I supposed to buy? The gears for when Ben Wakalo was here, he told us how expensive gears for badminton are to get that racket, to get the shot to, and everything quite expensive. Ben Wakalo said they are doing everything possible to see that the price comes down for people to be able to afford. If you have 4 children and you want all of them to play badminton, to be able to see how he gets a little bit cheap. Not under his control, but he thinks things will come down. And I want to ask Coach Atta, how much does it take to get complete set gears for squash? Handball is just need, in fact, you can even use your jeans, use scissors, cut them. And handball is very simple, like football. Whether you have the boot or not, the canvas or not. The problem is when you finish, now your heels go tell you, you don't try, especially in an indoor court. If it's on sand, you can't bounce the ball. So handball is perfect. It must have a hard court. You don't have any option. Like football, you can play on sand, you can play anywhere. How about squash? Squash is, to me, it looks expensive because one, you need that glass that looks like this part of our office, the program's office at the newsroom. You have to have that separation where the fans will sit outside and watch you through the glass. And then you need to have the racket, you need to have the squash ball, and all those things. It appears to me that it is expensive. I do not know exactly if it is expensive, but from what I've seen so far, and the people that I know that have been playing squash, one, they're ex-presidents. The late Yaradua was a squash player. Yes, that was a president in his right. For him to be able to afford to play squash means it's a game for big boys. And President Obasanjo just spoke of Mubarak, President of Egypt. President. You want former, yes, once a president, always a president. I mean, you want to take money scales. How do we know? How are we going to be able to afford the squash gears and all that? It's not exactly how much the exact amount it costs, but can the ordinary person afford to have the squash gear? The number to call to join if you want to ask Coach Atta is here, Coach Jonah Atta is here. Call us on 080-3322-1149. I'll pick some calls before I let Coach Jonah answer that question because somehow I want to join. I don't know whether I'm too old. At the age of 14, I don't know whether I'm too old to join or I still have a chance to join. Coach Jonah, how expensive is it to start squash at a very, very low level?
Well, when you talk about squash equipment,
Yes, sir.
when you say it's expensive, it's relative.
Yes, sir.
Because for you to go into squash, it's more like an investment.
Okay.
Investment into your health. So if, say, you were buying a squash racket, which is, I mean, the cheapest one is like 35,000 naira.
Coach, I mean, you hear what I'm talking about. The cheapest, though.
Yes, but
That is school fees for one nursery school for one term.
in the same vein,
Yes, sir.
as we always say, God forbid.
Let me pick this call, sir. I'll come back to you. Somebody, this same number has been calling, and when I pick, it doesn't sound. But of course, you have heard Coach Atta there. Don't be scared about the money. He would break it down for you how you can afford to start squash. 080-3322-1149. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, Coach Atta will give us details. He said 25,000, the cheapest. 25, 30,000, 20, 25, 30. Or am I bringing it down too much? No, I'm not. But don't worry. When we're back, he will tell you details as we try to wrap up our discussion about squash. Don't be scared. I think it's affordable. And I think what he said, one big thing that you not forget when we come back from the break is that it's an investment into your health. And Coach Aminu here, who is a student and a squash player, has testified that, yes, in your truth, squash is worth it. So stay with us on Human Rights Break. We'll take a break to Human Rights Radio here. We'll take a break to remind our brothers, our Muslim brothers and sisters, it's time for call to prayer. So pray for Nigeria, even as we are struggling against England. That's not important. Pray for us as we go to Russia. Pray for the country itself. And pray as you pray for yourself. Pray for Human Rights Radio, as we believe in the power of God. Anything is possible. Stay with us. We'll be right back. 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting. This is the stadium on the second day of June 2018. My name is Ted. I've been joined in the studio by, of course, our big brother, Oga Aminu Ibrahim, and, of course, Coach Jonah Atta, ex-international medalist, yes, in the game of squash. If you don't know, he's a man who doesn't like to blow so much of his trumpet, but here on the stadium, according to what our executive media strategy to say, with the naked matter as a day, of course, he's a hero, somebody who should be celebrated. Even if the federation doesn't recognize him, here on the stadium, we do recognize his effort. And we've been talking with him. Of course, if you want to ask Coach Jonah any question before he leaves the studio, he has a lot of commitments. I want to thank you, sir, for taking your time, despite your very tight schedule this Saturday evening, to be here with us. If you want to ask him any question, feel free to call us on the numbers 080-3322-1149. Before we went on the break, Coach Jonah, we were talking about how expensive or how cheap squash is. But there's something you said off air that no matter how much you put into it, I'm not quoting you directly, but the implication I got is that no matter how much you put into it, it is an investment into your health and, of course, into the sports pocket of this country. Only if the country respects the game of squash. If they don't, I don't know how much you can reap from that. But of course, we are talking about the gears. First of all, we spoke about the racket, how cheap it is. 25,000. You say it's as cheap as that, Coach Jonah. If I see that money now, this weekend.
Yes. From what I was saying,
Yes, sir.
That amount is relative because someone may find himself in the hospital and maybe the little drug that will be prescribed will sometimes may even be more than that 35,000.
Yes.
But somehow, maybe if you invest in squash,
You leave heady. You not even know the hospital address.
you may not need the doctor.
Don't let my doctor friend hear you working in business.
So, and looking at it, squash is played by over 20 million people worldwide.
Yes.
And it's played in about 188 countries. And we have close to like 50,000 squash courts worldwide. So if you look at this investment, you'll be sure that, yes, if I put my money in this game, it's sure an investment to go into.
Okay. Coach Aminu, before we let Coach Jonah take his leave, what are your final words on squash? I know you're a player, you've been enjoying it. No wonder sometimes we go there here, they look fresh. Anyway, you are my other brother, so I'll copy from you. Next time I follow you go, I'll follow you to the squash field, to the court. Let me see what happens there and let us know. And one of these days, I will probably find a way to feed some of these children that have benefited from it. Let's let them speak about it. It's just to encourage parents and other people that there's a sport here called squash. Somebody is here on the line. Let's hear from this person before Coach Aminu gives us his final remarks on the game. Hello, good evening. All right, the call has dropped. Network, of course, because of the rain, network doesn't like squash, but of course we keep talking about it until we get everything right. Coach Aminu, before we let Coach Atago, what are your final thoughts on squash? Has it been? Is he from your experience so far? He's your coach, he's your mentor. Is he a male-dominated game, or we're speaking about Yemisi, one of our very best international players? Very few female names who can call in squash. What have you seen so far in terms of the gender balance in the game?
Yeah, actually, from what I see at this National Stadium squash court,
Yes, sir.
there are a lot of women represented in the squash court.
Okay.
We have a lot of young players, just like what Coach Jonah is doing, the grassroots program.
Okay.
He has a lot of young female kids and male kids. So it's not a game of a gender, either male or female. It's a game of both genders, male and female play squash. And my final words for squash is that I am calling on stakeholders in squash to really
invest in the sport.
Invest in squash.
And take it
partner
serious.
with Coach Jonah, because what Coach Jonah is doing, he is really impacting
The whole lot.
You know, he's really impacting and investing in the younger generation. Because when you look at the number of children that comes to play squash, you will be very
Impressed
amazed.
of the result, yes.
You know, it's a game that it's not all of us that will play football.
Of course.
You understand? Or basketball or volleyball. Definitely other sports too should be having representation, and like what we discussed earlier,
Yes.
Egypt in the world today. Egypt is an African country,
Yes.
but they are the world best male and female squash players. First, number 1, number 2, number 3 are Egyptian in the male category. First, number 1, number 2, number 3 are from Egypt. And this same Egypt were behind Nigeria
Yes,
before, but
yes.
because of our, I will call it negligence, or maybe not putting the right people in the right position, we're really getting things wrong. You understand? Like this morning, we were discussing at the squash court. I didn't go to play squash this morning.
Yes, sir.
I went to play handball. But I don't owe anybody any apology.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
The squash court.
Let me pick this call, sir. We'll come back. Hello. Good evening. Okay. The network is still against squash.
The
We'll not allow it.
the squash court that will go there, when you go there, you see the caliber of people, prominent people that come to play squash. There is no good generator to power the squash court. Just the squash court.
And you can't have it without air because it's
Yes.
every standard court is
you can't
sealed.
even
You
play
need-
squash without light.
Yes.
Closed.
Because
It's
it's
closed,
an
yes.
indoor game.
You get somebody
just-
suffocated.
you
Even
just-
even the apart from the players, even the fans, the supporters seated there. If you
Yes.
don't have. Oh, yeah.
I remember when we started the program, you said something about Malam Al-Hassan Yakmut, and I felt as if tears is going to come out of my eyes.
No.
I was telling Coach Jonah this morning, before we even started training this morning at the stadium, we were discussing, 3 of us, I, Coach Jonah, and then one of the squash coach. We were talking about there's no light, the generator is bad. When Al-Hassan Yakmut was the DG, National Sport Commission, every day.
I think that was the last. That was the
every
last.
day-
That's the last NSC we saw.
Yes,
as far
every
as I'm
day you
concerned.
go to the stadium, the big generators are working, powering all the indoor halls. You don't need to start going to buy fuel for squash or even looking for smaller generator. These things are being budgeted for.
Yes, exactly.
The maintenance of the stadium, buying diesel to put in the bigger generator so that people will, okay, today is weekend.
Okay.
That all people, or most people go to exercise.
You won't believe
they
that
come
even
to play.
it's raining now. This rain is probably beating 1 or 2%.
Yes.
Up there. I don't want to go deep into that
Yes,
because it's annoying. People might get.
what my final words are, please and please, let the government come.
Hello, good evening. Ogabini,
Evening
let's
of
pick
squash.
this
Good
call.
evening.
Yes, welcome to the Stadium of Human Rights Radio.
This is Alhaji Raimi Balogun.
Alhaji Raimi Balogun, thank you.
NSC staff.
Yes, okay.
Congratulations about the Scott Rocket you are mentioning about.
Okay, sir.
In 1977, National Sports Certified, I been the NSC official for Scott Rocket at
Yes.
Kaduna 1977.
Yes, sir.
I'm now 66 years retired. So you are telling me anything you are telling me about the Scott Red,
Yes.
Scott Rocket. So I don't know how they say it's a new. Somebody mentioned like this, it's a new game in Nigeria.
No, it's not
I'm
new.
working with Commander Bolaji Sojirin.
Okay.
He's our leader, president of the association that time.
Okay.
From Lagos, we go to Kaduna,
Yes.
which Scott Rocket is one of the best sport that time. Some sports come up after them. So anybody who is in charge of it now, please take it as a rebrand. Don't relax. No money, no popular like the other one or other sport.
Yes.
They no count it. That's the problem we have in Nigeria.
Yes,
They
sir.
only focus on football, or the other one.
Yes, sir.
Please, how you people are generation of the boys now, how they will push it forward. It's my game. My name is Raimi Balogun. I retire as a chief transport officer for NSC.
Wow.
So this Aminu and the other, all of them.
Yes, Coach Atta.
Will be my Fantech never become DG that time.
Yes.
So we do together to let that Scott Rocket
Yes.
to move.
Okay.
But this the long way they go put there now, they put science inside our soup. Make you people now to know how this point will go. I thought I phoned along this minister.
Yes, sir.
That day I'm telling him, he resign if they no do this. He mentioned the day we entered this office.
Yes, sir.
He says he's a lawyer. I don't know how they can't give him. The man is touristing somebody. But what our government is doing, let them repair us for this next season, what they want to do.
Yes,
I will be proud of me before I can die. Before I die, this contract that says be like the other sport.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I greet you. You don't remember me?
I remember you, my Oga. Thank you very much, sir.
God will be with you. You people go come down well, go land well. Oh.
Amen, sir.
Amen.
And land well.
Amen. And you too, sir.
Amen. And you too, sir.
But I'm proud of I'm an ex-staff of NSC.
Yes, sir.
1977 National Sport, third National Sports Festival. I'm in Scott Rocket
Wow.
Association.
Okay, sir. Thank you
May
so
God
much.
be
Sir.
with you.
God be
Amen.
with you
Thank
too,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you very much. just what we are saying. That's a legend there, calling in to make his contribution. Very valid points he's talking about. He has taken us through memory lane, and I saw Coach Atta nodding. He said he made very valid points. Of course, he remembers you as well and all that. That's a big brother there talking about it, and of course talking about what the ministry should do for the sport and the fact that they should not let the game of squash in Nigeria die. Just like our big brother, ex-international himself, Balogun, did. You can join us on Human Rights Radio and be a part of this conversation. Call 080-3322-1149. Any further questions you have, Coach Aminu will be able to handle that. If it's too big, we'll write it down, and when we invite Coach Atta to come next time, he will handle it as we try to excuse him to leave because of his commitments. But Coach Aminu, you are trying to wrap up before the call came in.
Yes, thank you, Ted.
Yes.
I'm appealing.
I don't know if you may need to change your mic. I'm not sure if it's still really on. Do you use the other mic, please, so I can hear you well?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
appealing to all squash lovers and stakeholders to come to the aid of squash at the National Stadium.
Yes.
We actually don't have a generator.
In the country as a whole, everywhere.
Yes.
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 Somebody else is on the line. Sorry to interrupt you, sir, because this is very interactive. I will have to let the callers talk.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. This is the Stadium of Human Rights Radio. I'm very fine. What is your name and where are you calling us? Very fine. Yes,
My name is Nasir Rabi. I call you from Lugotera Housing Junction.
Nasiru, welcome to the program. What is your contribution?
So I send my gratitude on.
Okay, sir. We hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Nasiru just called there to greet us and all that. Okay, before we wrap up, Coach Aminu, final words. Thanks.
Yes, appealing that it's the squash court, we don't have a working generator. The two generators we had are bad. And a lot of people come to play squash, very prominent people. We shouldn't allow the game of squash to die because it has come up to stay.
I think we should team up and put this on record and write to where it is supposed to be written. Write to the ministry.
Yeah.
Come together as a team. Coach Atta will be there. We'll write and request and demand that those facilities be checked. We are bidding to host the Junior Olympics in 2022.
Yeah.
We had a tour of the stadium. I don't know if they noticed all these things. So we're bragging about it. This stadium was built and budgeted for 2003 during Koja expensively. These things have not even lived half of their warranty, and they're not functional.
Yeah.
Not functional. It's a risk to our athletes to train under such environment.
Condition.
I guess it's why this where, like what he said, ex-President Mubarak took squash to a higher level in Egypt, and that's why Egypt has gone ahead of us. Not only Egypt. Tomorrow might be even thinking of maybe Benin Republic, maybe Congo will go ahead of us. We don't know.
Yeah.
But like you said, of course, we'll take this call and we'll wrap the show on this segment. You will come back in the next segment to talk about every other sport. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, this is the Stadium of Human Rights Radio, 101.1. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Abubakar Bakadamba. I call for GB.
Okay, Oga Abubakar, welcome to the program. What's your contribution? We're talking about the game of squash in Nigeria.
So, at the part of great tuna.
Yes, sir. Everybody's hearing you.
At the Mario program now.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I'm listening to you, sir. Go on.
At the Mario program now.
Sir, say that again,
I
please.
didn't like your program.
Oh, okay. Very, very. Thank you so much. Are you listening to us from Niger State?
Yes, in Niger State, you are.
Okay. That's very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. God bless you too, sir.
I greet you all of you in Nigeria.
Everybody they hear you and we greet you too,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That's our listener all the way from Niger State. They just got to appreciate what we're doing here on Human Rights Radio 101.1. We'll take a short break. When we return, the program continues with other sports. Of course, Nigeria is still playing out there with England. Almost should be done by now. I think it's done. And of course, Coach Atta, thank you so much for finding time to be here with us today.
Thank you very much.
To discuss a game of squash. We are very proud of what you're doing, and don't give up. There'll be more obstacles. So now that people have heard you on it, they're still going to find ways to block you more. So Coach Amini will tell you what they faced as Mega veterans in handball. Not be small thing. But of course, we'll be back when we're back. Coach Amini and I will still be here. Coach Atta is taking his leave. Yes. Almost spent more than what we thought you be with us. Thank you so much for the sacrifice. We hope to be with you again some other time. Of course, maybe we'll find time to feed some of those your squash players so that people will know that what you're talking about is free, and then we encourage people to develop love for the game of squash in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
All right, then. Do stay with us. This is Human Rights Radio 101.1. I'll be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere.
na ntị ka ha gbochie ma kwụsị akparamagwa ga-ebute mmiri ọdụdọ na mbuze dịka iwufu ahịhịa n'ime mmiri na-asọ asọ ya na ịtụnye ihe n'ime gota. A na-emekwa ka ị mara na iwu ụlọ n'ebe na-ekwesịghị dịka ụzọ mmiri nwere ike ịkpata ịtụfu ndụ ndị mmadụ n'efu ya na ihe nweta ndị mmadụ ịla n'iyi. Mee ihe kwesịrị dị mma. Ọ bụ Federal Capital Territory Administration FCTA na-ezitara gị ozi a.
gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti mọ̀ wípé àsìkò òjò la wà, èyí ni láti sọ fún gbogbo ènìyàn láti yàgò fún ìwà ìdọ̀tí, dídà ìdọ̀tí síbi tí ò bójúmu tí ó lè fa omíyalé, àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù. Dídà ìdọ̀tí síbi tí ò bójúmu tàbí òpópónà sì jẹ́ ohun kan gbòógì tí ó ń ṣokùnfà omíyalé, àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù ní ìlú Àbújá. Ẹ má ṣe da ìdọ̀tí sínú gọ́tà tàbí ọ̀nà tí ìjọba ti pèsè sílẹ̀ fún omi láti gbà kọjá. A tún fi àsìkò yìí sọ fún gbogbo olùgbé FCT Àbújá láti rí dájú wípé wọn ò kọ́ ilé sí ọ̀nà tí omi ń gbà kọjá. Èyí lè ṣe okùnfà pípàdánù ọ̀gọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀mí tàbí pípàdánù ohun ìní ní àsìkò òjò. Ẹ ṣe ohun tó tọ́. Ìkéde yìí wá láti àjọ FCTA Federal Capital Territory Administration.
ọmọdé agídí yóò dá òkọ̀ọ̀kan ẹ̀gbọ́n tí yóò bí.
As the rainy season begins, the general public is hereby advised to avoid environmental practices that could cause flooding. Indiscriminate waste disposal has remained a major factor causing flooding in the FCT. Do not throw your garbage into gutters and drainages along waterways. Residents are also advised to avoid building houses around natural waterways, as this could also lead to loss of lives and property during the rainy season.
Do the right thing. This message is from the Federal Capital Territory, FCTA.
101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting. This is the stadium. My name is Ted. Of course, I'm still here with Coach Aminu Ibrahim, our big brother. Because we had the first half of the program, we spoke extensively about squash. The reason we took that time to speak about the sport is because it's a sport that is no longer almost not recognized in Nigeria, despite the fact that we have been at the top of the table when it comes to international scene. Where squash from Nigeria has been big, and people think it's just a big man's game. Yes, it could be, but of course, you can become big. You can invest in your health. You can be a part of that. We are going straight into the world of football. Nigeria, England, how far? I want you to call in to tell me two key things you think Coach General should change about this team. Oga Aminu started the conversation by saying the defense and the midfield are nothing to write home about because the keeper had been under pressure through the game. And if not for his saves, would have actually considered in the first 10 minutes of that game, would have considered a lot of very crazy goals. But Francis Zoho is proving that Ikechukwu Ezenwa being benched is not by mistake, that he has something to say when it comes to standing between the sticks for Nigeria. And he wants to call that shot for the person to be taken to World Cup to be him and not any other of the other two goalkeepers that are there in the squad. The number to call to join us is 080-3322-1149. But before we pick your calls, there are so many other things we'll be talking about. There's a caller here, Ogamino. Let me pick this call before I come back to you. I know your mouth is itching to say something about this game, what you think the coach should do differently. This call has dropped. Maybe I spoke for too long, but I'll pick the call again. 080-3322-1149. Ogamino, do we have the attack that it takes to take to Russia at the World Cup? We are meeting the likes of Argentina with very, very hard defenders. Yes, they do have defense. Their weakness is also defense, but they have defenders in the likes of Otamendi. You have big guys and very good goalkeepers as well. Their attack saves their defense, but can our attack penetrate that defense? Let me answer this caller before we come back to you. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, this is a Stadium of Human Rights Radio. Welcome to the program. What is your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Justin Yola.
Okay, make your contribution, please.
My own thing, they have people Nigerians to play World Cup this season, but I pray Nigeria win this World Cup this year.
Nigeria is going to the World Cup, yes. We just finished playing a friendly against England. Did you watch the match?
No, I don't watch the match, but we are the prayer so that Nigeria won.
Nigeria to win the World Cup. Oh, he dropped the call. That's a very big prayer, my brother. Of course, I'll join you to say amen because prayer is prayer. Only God knows what the intention of the Almighty is. If Nigeria wins the World Cup, of course, why not? We can win it. Some countries came from nowhere to win it. And Nigeria, we're not coming from nowhere. We have a history at the World Cup. We have actually caused problems for some countries. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, this is the Stadium on Human Rights Radio 101.1. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
Thank you very much. This is Diwan. Good evening, Ghanaian.
They won.
Good evening, Diwan.
They won our only Diwan, of course. Ogamino was waiting for your call.
The missing man.
Thank you.
Because you are missing from the studio.
The missing man.
Let me follow suit by saying I pray Nigeria will win World Cup.
Okay.
But one thing we're supposed to understand is that it's not about prayer. If it is talking about prayer, I believe Saudi Arabia or Israel supposed to be the third country to win World Cup. So what I'm saying next is that preparation is exactly what really matters. And
Okay.
when we saw the field of play today,
Yes.
I think although many people will but there's a popular adage in one part of this country that Saturday that will be good. There is on Friday that we see the sign of Saturday that will be good. So I think what we need to do very well is that the likes of Onazi and Joel Obi, I think their combination at the middle of is not good for us at all.
Exactly.
It's not
Exactly.
good for us at all.
Yes.
I think we saw a different ball game when they changed them in the second half. I brought in Ogu, I brought in the table, attacking-minded players. They are too sluggish. If you play against the club, country that they are fast in nature, it should be they will just run them down. It is a different game tonight, but we need to up our game. We want to make a statement in the World Cup.
I agree with you, D1. I watched that game and I watched especially the first time where I paid a lot of attention to what the coach is doing. What do you think the coach should do? Now the squad is almost set. What do you think Coach General should do differently? Or who should be his first 11 that you think he should use rather than experimenting still?
As it is present from the fielders, from information that filtered in from England, I think online now will not go to World Cup. And one other player that will just support, that will expect to be dropped is between Joy Obi and Ogeyi Onazi. But with the way it is now, they may not drop Ogeyi Onazi. Than a experienced player, and he has been with this shelf of player for some time now. Joy Obi is just coming in after a long year and he's trying to blend. And if you watch the match, you discover that in the first half, we play 4-4-2. But the second half, we switch to the normal, traditional...
which you favor more, yes.
That we are playing presently, which is 3-5-2.
Yeah.
And it's really helped us a lot. I think the only place we just need to work on ourselves is that midfield and the striking. We need somebody. Mikael Obi is a very good player. We know him from onset, but we just need to work his game. All these final parties that we for a long time, the final parties is not that there again. We just believe that when the ovation is loud, I believe that Mikael Obi will help his game. And I can see us going through a group stage in the World Cup, going to the second round. So winning the World Cup, we can support it with prayer.
Iceland did there, or Croatia did there, or talk less of Argentina. D1.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, D1, for filling us in on that. Thank you so much. Coach Aminu, that's D1 there. He almost took the words out of your mouth. What you were talking about when we went off air before the program, talking about the midfield, and he just x-rayed it. The midfield looked actually porous. Even though we changed formation, the midfield really looked porous. And with that midfield, Croatia, their strength is their midfield. When Luka Modric starts distributing balls, you forget whether he's a striker or a defender or a midfielder. He's able to, his vision of the pitch is amazing. He sees space where you don't see. And I saw that our defense was not even able to run. Raheem Sterling was just running right out there with Ashley Young coming all the way from the back to still run through the midfield and down to the defense, our defense line, as if there was nobody there. And D1 mentioned Mikel. Of course, I know that one man, some countries and some teams do have just a single player who can turn things around. We no longer have that single player, one player in the Super Eagles that we can say we depend on to change and detect a game. It's a collective effort now from all the players. And Mikel is not up. Of course, he's good. He's no longer that player that can change the game and change it around. I think I wouldn't say he's aging, but people, it seems other teams already, other opponents already understand him. They know how to position themselves to mark him, not to be able to drop those final balls. And we're still experimenting with strikers as long as I'm concerned. We have Simi Wako there, but we're not yet there. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. I can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, this is the Stadium on Human Rights Radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Ifune Babuga. I'm calling from Panda Development Area, local government.
Okay, all the way from Nasarawa, from Karo. Make your contribution. Did you watch the match Nigeria played against England this evening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Okay, problem. I call honorary president.
Okay, my brother, this is a sports program, right? The ordinary president himself is not on seat now. You are calling onto the live studio. We are discussing sports. So if you need to talk directly to the ordinary president, I will advise you to call on Monday morning from 7:30 to 9. Monday from 7:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock. Just a try. Your number will go through and he'll pick your call.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for understanding.
I wish you good night.
Good night to you too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. This is the Stadium on Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting. Coach Aminu, you wanted to talk before the call came in about the midfield and all that. What can we do now? We're selected our players. We're about to drop 2 more to have the last squad to go to Russia. Can our midfield withstand the 3 teams we have in our group, Argentina, Iceland, and Croatia?
Well, from what I saw, even from the previous friendly games that we've been playing,
yes,
we've been talking about this midfield and the attacking role. We are really having issues with those departments. Even the defense, If you look at the second goal that the English team scored,
Yes.
it was lapses from the midfield.
Even the first goal,
You know?
nobody marked Tim Cahill.
Yeah.
How could you jump there and then you are keeping a very short? I don't blame the keeper. I mean, you just had a very
No,
short
no.
player,
The keeper
short-
was
short player
awesome.
on the
He
line.
did very, very well. If
Yeah.
not for the keeper's performance
Would have
today,
been
the
a
goals
big-
would have been more than
lot.
what we
Exactly.
experienced. So the coach is still doing experiment at this minute and moment of the World Championship. Like the English team, when you look at the way they play, you know that they are already set to
that's
go
the
for
Russian
the World.
team.
Yes, that is the Russian team.
Exactly.
They are ready and they are set to go, and that is exactly what our Nigerian team is supposed to be looking like at this moment. Not still trying to drop players, trying to experiment. I don't know what the coach is still doing till now, that he's trying to test the strikers, or maybe trying to still give other players chances to prove themselves in less than 2 weeks.
It's a very short time to start preparing ourselves for we're not preparing at this point. Some teams of some countries are already in Russia. They have already flown to Russia. They have that 23-man squad. We're still looking at 2 players to drop. At this point, we still don't know who is going to Russia, who is not. Anybody could be dropped from the team as it is to meet up the June 4th deadline. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello. Well, please try to call us back if you're trying to be a part of this conversation. We're talking about the Nigerian team. We have a lot of other news in the world of football. The number to call to join us is 080-3322-1149. You call and you are live onto the Stadium on Human Rights Radio. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Please turn down the volume of your radio, please.
My name is Kingsley, calling from Nyanya.
Okay, all the way from Nyanya. How is the evening going?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I told you yesterday that if you should ask me who am I giving the match, I'm giving it to the English team when I called yesterday.
I remember you say that, and according to you, it has come to pass.
Yes, and his scores was accurate.
It's just by miracle. It only takes miracle for Nigerians to qualify in that group. So we need a serious work in that our midfield and defense. Understand?
But what can we do now? We have already selected.
In that midfield.
Exactly. We're missing his presence. With him and Mikel, I think the midfield will be stronger. I agree with you. But what can the coach do now? It's late already now. He has selected this team.
So they just need to work on the one that you have selected. Not sure them whether they have to train hard, work hard towards it. If not so, it will be difficult. Mostly against Croatia. If a team like Croatia, look at the likes of Modric and Rakitic in that midfield.
Exactly.
I don't know how they do. We just pray that God will help us that day.
Thank you so much, my brother. Yeah, Nigeria, it has got to that point where we're resorting to prayer as usual. We love it when it comes, everything gets tight, and then we switch over to prayer. Maybe that's what will save us. But we'll see. We do have a team. We have some players who are quite hungry. I think when it gets to the stage, and most of these players are trying to play safe to avoid injury. We have already almost lost very serious players across the world, across the globe, who are not going to the World Cup. We're still doubtful if Mohamed Salah will be strong enough to play with the Egyptian team that we expect to see in the World Cup. We have lost the likes of Chamberlain. We have lost so many players from their clubs, from their leagues, who might not go because of last-minute injuries. Most of them. It's Dani Alves. Neymar is not 100% fit. He say he's not strong. He's scared. He's a captain. He doesn't know how he can carry the weight of Brazil on his shoulders. Kun Aguero is struggling. Otamendi is not an injury. Argentina, but if an Argentine gets injured, I won't be very much troubled. It's okay. It's against us. Hello, good evening. Please turn down the volume of your radio. Work is very fine. Welcome to the Stadium on Human Rights Radio. Make your contribution.
Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, what is the score against the match today, sir?
The what?
The result of the match.
You want to hear the result? You'll be so disappointed. We lost to England. Make you live like that, because if you call the score now, you know, too far. Now just a slight difference. Another person score 2 goals, another person score 1. But if you call them straight, you go vex.
Nice.
Thank you so much, brother.
Well done, bye-bye.
Yes. No, when Nigeria loses, I hate calling the result. It's painful. And these are countries that we should have been. We could do better, of course. I remember when Yaman made this blind save against Post Coast, Korea, Japan, 2002. That was the last time we had that kind of close encounter with the English national team. Dele Alli played today against his home country that he abandoned actually for England, the Three Lions. Maybe this is the last World Cup you go to. Who knows? They know how to use people and dump them. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, hello.
Yes, this is a Stadium on Human Rights Radio. Welcome to the program. What's your name, sir?
Thank you.
Hello, what's your name and where you calling from? Well, I guess you just try to see if the number can go through. The number to call to join us is 080-3322-1149. Ogamini, all is not very well at Chelsea. At the moment, there's a program that's supposed to go on, Stamford Bridge redevelopment. That's the stadium itself, and it's on hold. There's so many reasons behind that. Roman Abramovich has been having issues.
Yeah, with the visa,
yes. He even had to get a Jewish
prove him on how he made the money to buy Chelsea. Yeah.
But at what point should you separate politics from things like sports? I know there's a diplomatic row between England and Russia. Even some of the diplomats had to be expelled or sent out of the country and all that. It's now there are so many Russian investors in England, and now that has crippled into sports. This guy invested a whole lot of money in England. Chelsea was actually going down. Chelsea, when people like Celestine Babayaro were at Chelsea, George, where Marseille, those days then, when the likes of Hazard went to play at Chelsea, Chelsea was still a big club in England, but not at this money-making level that they have come to even challenge. Until City came, Chelsea were riding high in England as one of the richest because he invested a lot in it. He bought over completely. Now, his own personal position, he's also a very close person to the Russian government, and his own investments in England have been affected. It's affecting the club. Should we advise our players to start thinking about another club? Maybe Victor Moses, Ola, and all the rest of it. Let me pick this call before I come back to that. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
This is a Stadium on Human Rights Radio. What is your name? Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, my name is Chukuma. I'm calling from Airport Road.
Okay, Chukuma, welcome to the program.
Yeah. My brother, honestly speaking, I watched the match.
Yes, sir.
I will not say that I'm that disappointed, but one thing with South Africa is that all these white coach, they don't normally favor us, because when you look at all our previous World Cup, when we went with our indigenous coach, we normally go far. But look at what is just happening now. We don't even no forwarders, no midfield, defense. What is happening? Is this how we're going to, or are they going to do magic or what? I don't understand though. We are talking about about 180 million people. I don't know where they are going to start from. Honestly, that's my contribution anyway. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chukuma, for expressing your thoughts this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, that's our listener there, Chukuma, calling in from Airport Road, talk about the fact that the huge population we have in Nigeria, we cannot select 23 very good players. We do have them, actually. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Stadium, Human Rights Radio 101.1. This is a Stadium.
Okay, my name is Ogu. I'm calling from Apo.
Ogu, welcome all the way from Apo. How is Apo this evening, sir?
Yeah, great. I'm both fine.
All right.
I agree with the last caller.
Yes, sir.
I think most of these white coaches, I don't know, they're not really doing anything good for us. At this point in time, you think that you're still trying to select.
Ogu, is it the skin of the coach or the players that are not committed? The players are Nigerians. Can't they fight for their country? If the coach is white and the players are black, they don't want to fight for their country. Should we blame the white man for feeding the players that are Nigerians?
I'll blame him because to some extent, you think they mean well for us. You cannot be telling me that at this stage you are preparing a team that's supposed to be in the World Cup in 2 weeks' time, that you're still trying to select who's be on. I don't understand. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, but I don't know where we're going to. Where are we going to find other players, or should we just spark players from the home league? And
probably we'll have to go back to our indigenous coaches. I think they do better than these white people. I don't understand.
Who can we appoint? We tried Olise, the Pep Guardiola of Africa. We tried Olise. We tried Sia. At the under 20 and under 17 levels, they are standard. When it comes to the senior team, we see one or two lacks there. Ogo, I don't know your recommendation. I'm just asking.
I prefer the indigenous coaches. They are better.
Okay. So you think Qatar 2022 should use indigenous coaches? That's Ogu's submission there. He thinks indigenous coaches will do a lot better than hiring foreigners.
If I may say something here, it's too early to start crucifying the coach.
Well, of course, let me issue
he qualified the team and everybody was praising him.
Yes.
So I don't think it's the right time for us to start crucifying the coach. He just played some few friendly games, and we are trying to like discredit him.
Yes.
I really don't.
I think it's just still fine-tuning the team.
Yes,
maybe
he's
our
still
first game,
fine-tuning the team, but all what we yes, we are all Nigerians, and we feel pains when anytime our national team lose.
We don't deliver the way we want. Yes.
Yeah. So, but at least let's give him more time to see. We still have like 2 weeks, and we still have another game before the World Championship.
Exactly.
We're still trying to get it right.
Then probably would have been able to
Yes, he must have gotten.
I'm very sure that the coach himself, Coach General himself, will go back. The drawing board is already filled. Maybe he'll borrow a sheet of paper to go back and sit down with his team to evaluate the game and look at the game. And of course, they will have a heart-to-heart talk. The players as well. There's a lot of investment in that team from a lot of sponsors and the federation itself. So nobody's going to the World Cup to become a disgrace. I know qualifying and participating alone is a thing of pride for us. But of course, if we go far beyond what we expect, we'll clap for ourselves. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Yes, this is Human Rights Radio 101.1, and this is the stadium. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
My name.
Hello, sir. Hello. Could you please adjust the position where you're standing? We can hardly hear you. Your network is not very clear. It's breaking. Hello? Please do adjust where you're standing and call us back. I think because of the rain, the weather, the network is not very friendly. Network is powered this night by probably somebody from Croatia or Argentina or Iceland. We don't know. 08033221149 is the number to call, and you are live on to the stadium on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, this is the stadium. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Amin Omar. I'm calling you from Suleja.
Okay, how is Suleja this evening?
Suleja is very cool.
Okay, sir. Make your contribution. You watch a match, too?
No, now I on my radio, and now I come back from the market, but I on and I hear the program where you are working for.
Oh, we know we lose them again. Not 2-1. They give us 2, we chop 1. But
no, I never watched the game because I did inside market for that time.
Oh, okay. Next time, make you carry your TV enter market. Make you no miss World Cup.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes. Nigerians die hard when it comes to football. So, Ogaminos were saying, Chelsea having these issues, and I think if they don't sort it out in time, there will be a serious distraction as I enter the transfer market. Right now, Chelsea have one problem. There's a whole issue of Conte leaving or staying. Sarri of Napoli, who has left, Comini or someone else. Now that Zidane has left Real Madrid, don't know whether Abramovich has the money to yank him to come over to Chelsea. There are so many coaches who are free now. This is a season that a lot of coaches are moving. We don't have players there. We have a stake in Chelsea. That's what we're talking about. One of our big players, even though today he didn't perform up to his standard. He's just meeting with the team today for the first time since the FA Cup final against Manchester United. They gave him time to rest, just like Portugal did to Cristiano Ronaldo. This evening when they're playing Belgium, he will rest. They want him to be on holiday and rest so that he'll come to the World Cup fresh. Victor Moses joined the team today after a long time, but he didn't perform as the Victor Moses we have seen at Chelsea. I guess people are trying to be careful because of injury and all that. If this continues, we are going to see a lot of problems at Chelsea come next season. We might just have our players struggling again at the middle of the table. By the way, they didn't qualify for the Champions League. A lot of things have been going wrong there. Mike Emenalo, a Nigerian who is there, left for Monaco. He's now head of scouting now and the chief scout there, and a lot there. But somebody asked you earlier, I've not forgotten how he will join your football club. Whether you have a football club, I don't know.
Well, the answer to his question is I don't have a football club. So if he wants to join any football club, he can come to the National Stadium, or maybe you go to one of those pitches. But I don't have a football club.
All right. If you want to know how to play handball or squash, you can actually talk to Ogaminu or talk to Coach Jonah, one of our own resource persons here that comes. We'll pick one more call, and then we'll go to pray. When we'll come back, we'll wrap up the program. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, this is the Stadium on Human Rights Radio.
My name is Joel. I'm calling from Mopo Quarters, Kabai.
Okay, you're welcome to the program, Mr. Joel.
I just want to confirm the scores against Australia, Germany.
Australia, Germany. I don't have that score off by heart, but I'll check that before the program wraps up. I'll let you know.
All right.
And don't forget, Iceland is playing tonight as well against Norway. So it's a match you need to watch to see what they will play against Nigeria during the World Cup.
All right.
All right, then. Yeah, keep tabs with us. Stay with us on Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting. We'll take a very short break for call to prayer, and when we return, we'll wrap up the program. My name is Ted. I'm still here with Uncle Aminu Ibrahim, the chief coach himself. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. to Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting. This is the stadium. My name is Ted. Being here with Uncle Aminu Ibrahim, ex-international, one of our very, very strong resource persons when it comes to the world of sports. Of course, other friendly internationals are going on after the Nigerian defeat to England. We had Kenya played New Zealand earlier today. Of course, the Kenyans got a victory. Slim one there, but fine. Austria and Germany, the game was delayed. They called it as the game was delayed, but it had just started. It's on the way now, the same way with Belgium and Portugal without Cristiano Ronaldo. They asked him to rest. He needs to rest to recover fully to start the World Cup. All eyes will be on Ronaldo, or Messi, or Neymar, and of course, maybe on Mikel. Who knows? People they count, they all will count on Ado. Harry Kane tried to score today. He did. Of course, he's showing the world what he can do at the World Cup as the new captain of the English national team. Him and Cahill, of course, they caused the damage. But we're taking positives from that game. Let's see. If we'll be winning, we'll be carried away. We drew against Congo in Port Harcourt, and today we lost at Wembley. I think it's a good result. If we won, we'd have gone home to relax us. By the way, we drew with England, or we defeated England. Now that we have lost, we can actually go back to the drawing board. If it's feed, we'll borrow them plain sheet to sit down, write, and check what they can do. But Ogamino, we've come to the end of the stadium for today. Many other friendlies are taking place tonight, so people can watch. Niger is playing Uganda. One big game, Iceland will play tonight against Norway. They are going to the World Cup. They're trying to fine-tune their team as well, and I think it's a game we need to watch to look at what the coach has in mind. He named his 23-man squad straight off. No subtraction, no addition, no plus, no minus, just straight off. He knows the team he's taking. They're a country of about, they are less than the whole of Masaka. So we do have that on hand, and it's a match that we need to watch. But your final was that it's cold out this evening. You're going to watch the match, Iceland and Norway. Because
it's a match that all Nigerians should watch, and we'll see what Iceland is capable of doing, so that we'll put our suggestion through to the coach and then the NFF.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, when they watch, they have a lot to contribute.
Exactly.
So I believe that all Nigerians should also watch that game to see what the Iceland team is capable of doing in the World Championship.
It's a game to watch according to Ogabi.
That Nigeria will do well in the World Championship. That's just my prayers.
I will only say amen. I'm not adding anything extra to that. Thanks to everyone who called into the program. Thanks to the production team that assisted us from the Semocast, with Desmond and his team. Of course, the ICT there, making sure that you see us live online. Stay tuned to Human Rights Radio, because we have a whole lot of programs lined up for you this evening. Even though it's a wet Saturday evening, if you stay tuned with us, you don't need chai, you don't need tea. What we give you here will keep you warm enough for the rest of the evening and for the rest of tomorrow. Join us again. Stay with us, because the next program that is coming up, people have been waiting for it, and you like it. The next voice you hear will probably give you the best. If you are driving, be careful, be safe. Don't rush. Take your time gently. Get home in one piece, because we love you. My name is Ted, and thanks to Ogamino for being here. Until we come your way again on the stadium, we want to say good night, and thanks to the executive media strategist himself, the ordinary president, who was always giving us his chance to chat and interact with you on the program. Till you come your way again, have a great weekend. We're out.